Hello, this is the Sharing Whale podcast.
No, Jerry.
Today we have John and Jerry. Thank you, John, for the
Take three.
And Jonathan Rand. Hello, Jonathan.
Hey.
And Jerry Kennedy.
Hello.
That's Terry Kennedy. And these guys are in the band Tilt-A-Whirl, who play regularly around town and in the North Shore. And John plays the banjo, which we have here. But first, before we start talking about the banjo, John's a old friend of mine from the old neighborhood.
That's right.
You're still there, and we sort of kind of met through Ernie Baroni, who was also the next door neighbor,
Right.
and Karen. And John's, you were worked for your career at the Department of Transitional Assistance.
That's right,
For the
yeah.
state of Massachusetts.
Yeah, 44 years.
And every once in a while, don't they call you back in when
They do.
Yeah.
I retired, then a
put your
couple of
cape-
years later I went back in, then I retired again, then I went back a year later.
They're like, John, we need you to put your cape on and go
Yeah,
back.
for some special project. Fun.
Yeah. And also, you've been involved with BevCam since 2011.
Yes, that's right. When I retired officially first time in late 2010, I was eager to find things to do,
Yeah.
and I was always interested in filmmaking and television broadcast, and so I began to volunteer at BevCam at the high school studio. And took courses that BevCam offers, plugged to BevCam for the wonderful courses they offer. And back then it was primarily filming how to operate camera, some basic language around broadcast. And so I was helpful in that regard with a number of regular staff at BevCam and a bunch of volunteers. So we did everything from studio work to remote film.
And then you were 2013 came onto the board of directors.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I was recruited to become a member of the board, which I am still today, and that's a great opportunity to apply some of the skills I've had developed the years of career in public service, but also just to get a chance to work with some great people and Rob and his staff here. And we're here in the downtown location of BevCam, which is just about a year old. And this is representative of just how far BevCam has come and what a gift it is to the community.
Absolutely.
So that people can become members like we are, and take advantage of the opportunities here at BevCam to do some programming and podcasts and filming, etc. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's I agree. Such a great local resource, and to be so close to the library too, it's,
Yes.
and downtown in
And
Central.
downtown.
It's it'll be the gift that keeps on giving. And so you also a long time with the Beverly Farmers Market.
Yes, yeah. That's around the same time that I began volunteering at BevCam, maybe a little bit earlier. My wife, Betty Ann, actually had been volunteering at Jonathan's wife, Estelle Rand, ran Beverly Farmers Market, and Betty Ann was volunteering there. And then I said, that sounds like fun. So I got involved with that and stayed and did that for quite a few.
That's another
great experience, great thing for the community.
Right. Similar to to here, BevCam, the farmers market and the library, real central to community, And are you still on the advisory council for the market or
no? It's evolved, and there are some younger folks that manage the market with Estelle, who still is the manager of the market. and they do a great job.
Yeah.
You know, they volunteer at first, and then they learn what they need to do to manage the market. And it's as you know, because I know you're a participant.
Yeah.
It's just a great opportunity in the community for bringing people together.
Absolutely, yeah. And a business generator too, you know? People
That's
that
right.
come in
That's
and
right.
then
all
also they're-
local,
yeah,
all
yeah,
local
yeah, fantastic.
business folks.
Hats off to Estelle
Absolutely.
and all the people that have participated. And so, yeah, and then I know you were with Bootstraps and the Food Project, and it's really a career of like in community, of in service to others. Jonathan.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's what I did as a career, employment thing. And yes, I did work with volunteer at the Food Project, which is a youth development program when they were at Long Hill
Yeah.
and Moraine Farm, and that was like a seasonal summertime activity, and that was great. That was with Ben Zoba.
Right,
And
right.
some of the
Yeah,
others
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. That was a great fond memories of Long Hill before they put that driveway right through the field.
That's right. That's right.
But so we'll circle back to Ernie Baroni, our neighbor in the old neighborhood.
Okay.
And we were talked earlier how he was like the ringleader in a sense of the neighborhood, right? He would bring people together.
Yeah, that is very true. I mean, Ernie would bring people together. People, immediate neighborhood. You were living in that neighborhood at the time.
Yeah.
And he was also someone, in addition to his work life, which was down in Connecticut. He had a charge of fixing concrete for a
That's right.
large company. But Ernie was always interested in like tag sales.
Sure. Trash
and-
picking.
And it was also very knowledgeable about musical instruments.
Yes.
And furniture.
Right. Yeah.
In fact, he did some furniture, built some furniture. We have a piece in our house today that he built.
Yeah.
But we really connected on the playing instrument. Neither one of us were expert in any of the instruments. But at the time, I was playing guitar, and we would strum and have fun playing on the porch.
Yeah. Right.
And
Yeah.
at some point, he came across a banjo,
Mm-hmm.
which we have here, and I was able to acquire it after Ernie had passed away in 2004.
Yeah. Wow. Been that long.
And it'll be 25 years.
Yeah.
And after that, I was able to acquire the banjo from his estate, and I've had it ever since.
Yeah. And so you've been playing the banjo with Tilt-A-Whirl,
Correct.
these guys here, and
Yeah.
Jonathan, lead guitarist, vocals, Terry rhythm guitar, a little bass, vocals,
Mandolin.
mandolin, and two other members, Chris Michaels on drums, and
Peter Rowley.
Peter Rowley, bass, great bass player, and also singer-songwriter himself. But yeah, so the banjo, and this banjo goes back about 100 or so years?
Yeah, as it turns out, I've having done some research on this particular banjo, which I was not a banjo player. I knew people growing up who were banjo players and good banjo players. One of my good friends in college from Oklahoma learned how to play banjo and guitar from his aunt Otis in Arkansas.
Nice.
And he had an Ode banjo, and I don't know if you've heard of that, but Ode was a company that formed around 1960 or so, and they were very popular and affordable and playable banjos for kids from that era, my generation. So at any rate, I was exposed to good banjo playing, but I didn't really pick it up. I was playing guitar and bass. But this, as it turns out, is from my research, is actually a student banjo that a company out of Chicago, Lyon and Healy, which was just a huge manufacturer of musical instruments, and they mass-produced these banjos. This one, probably wasn't worth very much, and even by today's standards, I don't think it's really worth that much, but it's eminently playable.
Yeah.
I've had metal strings on it, nylon strings on it. It seems to play best with a nylon strings. It needs a bit of work, but yeah, I would say they made these banjos from like, I don't know, 1890 to 1920 in that era, so it kind of spans the the music of the late minstrel period into ragtime and jazz, really. So as you can see, when you see it compared to the banjo I play with Tilt-A-Whirl, it's much smaller, got the same size brim and head, 11-inch, but it's a much smaller scale for students and younger people. So there you go.
And then, like, Beverly has a little bit of history with the banjo, with Manuel's Black and White Orchestra.
Yes, there is.
1916.
Yeah, there's a photo that the Historic Beverly published just this past week of Manuel's Black and White Orchestra from 1916, and Otis Manuel and I think it was his brother, maybe.
Yeah, Alvin. Yeah, I have it here somewhere in my notes. Yeah, Otis Alvin Manuel. Yeah, and his brother David. Yeah.
And what was remarkable to me in the photo was that in the photo is this big banjo.
Yeah.
And they use banjos in these bands because, like some of the archtop guitars and resonator guitars that developed in the 1900s, they would project.
Yeah.
So that was the idea, and so it fits.
Yeah.
Actually, another quick local note on the Black and White Orchestra. Al Mitchell, who along with his family had the dance studio here downtown,
Right, sure.
and also ran Camp Mitchman, which is now the
That's where. Oh my gosh, the garden school is, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
garden school,
Right.
and
Right.
where we played
Right.
a couple of years ago, and so Al Mitchell joined the band, and he was like a nephew, I think, of the original of Otis, maybe.
Yeah, like a manager. Yeah.
And he
Managed
joined the band in 1937, and he continued to front that band and play with them right into the 90s. In fact, when we first moved to Beverly in the 1980s, early 80s, I remember seeing him playing at Lynch Park
So
with
cool.
Manuel's Black and White. Yeah, and he would play there. He would play played at nursing homes,
Yeah.
senior centers, and whatever. And he was a great guy. I was able to meet him. Actually officiated at our wedding.
No kidding.
And
I had no idea. Wow.
he had great stories of playing with some of the big band leaders.
Yeah, because they played with.
30s, 40s.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, Beverly has like just a rich, including your part of it, musical history.
It does. It
Yeah,
really does.
yeah.
And just as another side note about Al Mitchell is the shell at Lynch Park is actually dedicated to him. There's a plaque at the shell.
Okay.
I know.
Wow, I hadn't known
I
that
can
either.
even add something to the Manuel lore. I went to high school with Karen Manuel. Dad was Charlie Manuel. At lineage, and
Yeah.
one of my first songwriting partners. We played in bands together, and so
Really?
there's a connect, like
Yeah.
a Beverly kind
That
of
is
connect
great.
to that transferred over to the Tri-Town. But
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
Awesome.
Amazing. And then like the history of the banjo was I hadn't thought about until I looked into it, and its origins are in West Africa. The gourd banjo, where it would be like a drum-like gourd with a stick and maybe maybe one string, like a thumb string, and it came to the Americas through slavery, and it had a sort of a European influence where you probably know more about this than I, but they added the fret and the peg, which would be similar to what you see this is, and then the first the minstrel show was the minstrel banjo, sort of like the early American version of the banjo, and then it's amazing how it sort of proliferated, or there's the Irish tenor banjo and the bluegrass banjo, and there's a jazz tenor banjo, and
Yeah,
it
they're
just
all
goes on and
different
on,
kinds.
right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's got an interesting history, and to me, it does represent, you know, a musical context of American history. It's really an integral part of American history.
Yeah.
And, you know, enslaved Africans brought among the, you know, their cultural heritage, brought this musical instrument, if you will, and started making them here. And in this references in the 17th century, 18th century to this instrument, and then in the 19th century, there are references to whites actually picking up, you know, enjoying the music that they heard and picking up the instrument. And then this fellow, Joel Sweeney, in like 1830s, is credited with adding a fifth string and frets to the instrument. I'm not entirely sure that that's the case, but in any event, he and his family began touring with a minstrel company in blackface, and toured the U.S. and the U.K., and you know, it became a very popular musical form. There were black minstrel bands also that primarily following the Civil War, but their music obviously would be different. It was serious, spiritual nature. And then came, you know, ragtime and the jazz age, and the end of the jazz age, and then World War II, post-World War II, with bluegrass developing with the likes of Earl Scruggs, and there were folk revival, so-called, like we've discussed with Pete Seeger in the Kingston Trio, New Christie Minstrels, and that's kind of the time that I came of age with that music, having liked popular music and rock, and then getting into folk rock and the rest of history.
Yeah, that's fascinating. You know, from its origins, where it was probably more of a spiritual instrument in Africa, right?
I think so, but there was also you know, joyful music, and you know, I think, you know, this is, first of all, thank you for having us, and I think it's appropriate to, you know, discuss this particular instrument during Black History Month, because that is the origin of this instrument, and that's when you know, there were a couple of things that I came across that I think are worth mentioning if people want to do a little deeper dive. There's a Bela Fleck, excuse me, who's extraordinary virtuoso on the banjo. Actually, both he and his wife, Abigail Washburn, who uses a slightly different technique. Bela is a finger-picking style. Abigail uses what they call claw hammer frailing, where you just use the thumb, and kind of an original style of strumming, hitting a string with a thumb. Yeah. But they're both extremely gifted and musicians. He did a documentary in probably 2010, maybe earlier, called "Throw Down Your Heart." And in that, and it's available for anyone to see on YouTube. And what's amazing about that is that he traveled to Africa, and he traveled to examine the roots of the instrument that he plays. And so there are wonderful clips of Bela playing with, you know, Africans in West Africa, primarily Gambia, I think, in some other country in Western Africa. And it's very educational, and he was like just awestruck, and he's playing along with like local musicians on very, you know, the rudimentary banjo, and playing with, you know, African rhythms, and it's just I highly recommend that. Throw Down Your Heart. And there's another video reference I'd like to make, and that would be to something called The Librarian and the Banjo. And The Librarian and the Banjo focuses on Dina Epstein, who was a University of Chicago librarian, music librarian, and she wrote a very dense book on early black music. It's called Sinful Tunes and spirituals, black folk music to the Civil War. So it's a very early period. And that is a very interesting book. But the video or the documentary has her being interviewed and having a great conversation with the Carolina Chocolate Drops. I know that we've heard of them. They're no longer together, I believe. But it's Rhiannon Giddens and her band, black folk musicians.
Yeah.
And it's a great video. Again, if you're interested in studying about the banjo and its origins and the music associated with it, it's an excellent video. And Rhiannon Giddens today remains one of my favorite banjo players, and her voice is just tremendous. I mean, she just has tremendous voice. So again, and it's authentic, original black music.
Yeah.
So again, would highly recommend that if for folks who are listening who might be interested.
Yeah. No, it's I hadn't expected sort of just looking into the banjo. I'm like, this is what's fun about doing something like this. All of a sudden, your world opens up because you have this narrow sort of view of what the banjo was. You know, I was thinking more in a folky way, or maybe through Steve Martin or something like that. I mean, I know it's an old instrument. I wasn't totally naive about it, but the fact that it comes from Africa and Western Africa and the history to it, and how it, it's a portal in a sense to American history, and so it's very much the instrument's very much alive with history, and it's fascinating. So BevCam's a window into the community, and through content like this, and sharing your knowledge of the banjo, it also opens up the world, so it's a great thing. So thank you, John, and we're going to segue into some music with the banjo. So thanks, fellas.
Thank you.
Right, cheers.
Thank you.
I know you right are gonna miss me when I'm gone. I know you right are gonna miss me when I'm gone. Gonna miss your baby from rolling in your arms. I lay down last night, Lord, I could not take my rest. I laid down last night, Lord, I could not take my rest. My mind was racing like a wild geese in the west. The sun will shine in my back door someday. Yeah, the sun will shine on my back door one day. March winds will blow all my troubles away. Now I wish I was a headlight on a northbound train. I wish I was a headlight on a northbound train. Then I'd shine my light through the cool Colorado rain. I know you are gonna miss me when I'm gone. I know you are gonna miss me when I'm gone. Gonna miss your baby from rolling in your arms. Gonna miss your baby from rolling in your arms.
When the bottom drop out of your trapdoor heart, I fall through the darkness and I fall apart. Pick up the pieces, then I run on home. I get lost on my way. Lord knows that I love to roam. Put the fire in the sun. Put the fire in the sun. Put the fire in the sun. Just tell me who put the fire in the sun. Push and pull me. Let me ride your waves. Let's get lost at sea. Let's get lost for days. When the flood hit, I hope the rescue gets delayed. Underwater, everything gets swept away. Put the fire in the sun. 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 Put it in. pressure. Spaced out, I'm all alone. Strike a match too close. Watch everything explode. Put the fire in the sun. Put the fire in the sun. Put the fire in the sun. Put the fire in the sun.
Dozen other dirty lovers must be a sucker for it. Cry, cry, but I don't need my mother. Just hold my hand while I come to a decision on it. Sooner or later, your legs give way, you hit the ground. Save it for later, you run away, you let me down. Sooner or later, you hit the deck, you get found out. Save it for later, you run away and let me down. Run away and let me down. Black hair and 7 seas all rotten through. But what can you do? Sometimes I don't know how to act with all of you lot. Sometimes I don't try, just na 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 na. Sooner or later, your legs give way, you hit the ground. Save it for later, you run away, you let me down. Sooner or later, you hit the deck, you get found out. Save it for later, you run away and let me down. You run away and let me down. Run away and let me down. Dozen other stupid reasons why we must suffer for this. Don't bother trying to explain them. Just hold my hand while I come to a decision on it. Sooner or later, your legs give way, you hit the ground. Save it for later, you run away, you let me down. Sooner or later, you hit the deck, you get found out. Save it for later, you run away and let me down. Run away
you ask me, I got to tell it to you straight. Life is full of choices and mistakes. And if you've been into the fire, you know that shit is bound to break. I'm still looking for those purple flames. They got lost beneath San Pedro's waves. If I don't find them, I'll head on back the way I came. It's just the same. And I've been on the road all my life. I've been sleeping under the stars most every night. Now I'm headed home. I don't want to be alone. Mama, turn on your light. I said, Mama, Mama, turn on your light. I said, Mama, Mama, turn on your light. Oh, the first train out, the sun was bright and low. The world outside ran by like a river flow. Into what was, I watched that morning go. When I'm at home, I made it back. The night was dark and I was all alone. And I saw your light shining through the cold. I've been on the road all my life. I've been sleeping under the stars most every night. Now I'm headed home. Don't want to be alone. Mama, turn on your light. I said, Mama, Mama, turn on your light. I said, Mama, Mama, turn on your light. Sun is crying tears of flame fall all around. Together we melt. Together we melt. Together we melt. Together we melt. Sun is crying tears of flame fall all around. Together we melt. Thank you. Thank you for having us.